We bring you the best in political commentary from the right wing, conservative, libertarian perspectives coming together and bringing the best content on the internet. Be sure to tune in every week for your favorite shows. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
All right, folks, we are back on Liberty Unfiltered. I'm your host, Steve Long. And tonight we've been talking about some geek stuff. And now we've come to our guest portion of the show. We're going to have Elizabeth Scott. She is a state legislator from Washington State. From, I believe, the Woodinville area, if I'm correct. So let me go ahead and get her on the line.
Hello, this is Elizabeth.
Hey, Elizabeth, it's Steve. How's it going?
It's going great, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for coming on the show tonight.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. Well, first and foremost, I want to congratulate you on your reelection.
Thank you very much. The family is thrilled, of course, and my constituents are very pleased. I won by over 25 percentage points, so I think that I can take that as a clear mandate to stick to my guns on lower taxes and don't touch my guns.
Absolutely. Very hard to get elected as a Republican in that part of the country.
You know, that's the assumption, but I find that if you're common sense and if you lay out your principles and stick to them, then people respect that, even if they might not always agree with your position. They respect honesty and predictability.
Good. So let's talk about guns a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I wanted to discuss was this initiative that recently got approved. It was the 594.
Correct.
So from what I've read, it's basically increased background checks.
Yes, they call it universal background checks, but as you know, it won't really be universal because criminals aren't going to suddenly decide, hey, I think I'll go do this background check before I hand my gun to my fellow compatriot in crime.
Well, that's the confusion that these liberals have, is no matter how many gun laws you pass, there's still going to be crime. There's still going to be gun violence. Criminals are not going to... I mean, it's just such a simple theme.
You know, it is.
Obey the law just because you create a new one.
It's so true. My 11-year-old daughter was ranting in the backseat of the car just this evening about that very thing. I just let her talk for a few minutes, and then at the end, she was talking about how silly it is that people would assume that, and she was talking about liberals. She said, it's so silly that the liberals would think that just because we have a new law that the criminals are suddenly going to follow it. I mean, she said, they're criminals because they're criminals. They don't follow laws.
Exactly.
So if an 11-year-old grasps it completely, then what exactly is the problem? And I think the problem is it's not really about reducing crime. It's about increasing control. Mm-hmm. And so once we understand that, then we know what we're really working with.
It's all about the government wanting to get in your business. They just want control over you. There's nothing, there's nothing... they're not doing anything out of some kind of honor that they're gonna, they're gonna reduce crime by getting rid of guns. They just want to control your life.
Right.
So that's
exactly it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's exactly it. So this new law, Initiative 594, did pass by over 60%, and now it was put into force December 4th, and already there are a number of people saying they will not comply with this new law. In fact, you may have heard there will be a demonstration. Some call it a protest or a rally. This Saturday, the 13th, at the Capitol in Olympia.
That's what I was
11
about.
o'clock in the morning, and people will be coming from all over the state, possibly even from Oregon and Idaho and Montana, because this is a serious thing. When you have a requirement now that you have to go to a federal firearms, agent or perhaps the sheriff and register your guns when you transfer a gun to even a relative, even someone you know very well, and then you have to fill out a form in triplicate, and then that form is kept on file, and you have to pay a tax and a transfer fee for that, and then you also have for the background check, and then the owner of the business also has to pay B&O tax on that, and use tax. There's also a use tax. So, this is pretty incredible, and it's outrageous to think of. A lot of people in Washington State have guns and like to shoot for fun or sport or just to practice so that they are ready if, God forbid, there comes a time when they need to defend themselves or their families.
Right.
And so a lot of people will go, where I live east of Monroe, almost to Sultan. It's a semi-rural area. It is legal to shoot in our backyards, and our yards are big, 5 acres or so. And people will have friends over after church and try out each other's guns, and the thought that you would have to go into town, fill out a form in triplicate, wait a few weeks for it to come back, pay a fee, let the government decide yes or no whether you can hand your gun to your neighbor to practice shooting with, and then once it's time to hand it back to you, go down and do it all over. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, and it's unenforceable because we don't have enough cops for there to be one in every living room seeing if someone's passing it to their neighbor, so it's unenforceable, so therefore it is unjust because it will become another one of those laws that is selectively enforced. That's wrong.
What part of shall not be infringed do these people not understand?
Right. And our state constitution is even more strict than the U.S. Constitution. The U.S. Constitution says for the security of a free state, so it gives one reason for the right to keep and bear arms. But our state constitution actually lists 2 reasons. It says for the security of a free state, but also, to protect your individual life. So
they're going against their own Constitution.
Yeah, and it says your right shall not be impaired. And this is a clear impairment.
Yeah.
So, there's a possibility that it will be found unconstitutional when it goes to the courts. There will be a number of lawsuits, I'm sure. Some are being prepared right now.
Who's the Attorney General up there now?
His name is Bob Ferguson.
Okay.
That's the Attorney General. He's, fairly left-wing. I mean, he's the Attorney General who attacked Arlene's Flowers for refusing to create flower arrangements for a gay wedding ceremony, even though these were long-term customers and they had lots of business done with them, had no problem. All the way up until the time came for them to, have a wedding ceremony. And at that point, the owners of the business said, "No, I can't do that in good conscience. My faith doesn't allow me to do that." And the person said, "Well, okay," and there didn't seem to be a problem right away. But word got to Bob Ferguson, the Attorney General, and he promptly sued them, took them to court. So, I'm not sure if he really grasps our natural rights and the right of conscience and all of that. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see where that leads. Right. But in the meantime, There will also be some bills proposed for the legislative session that begins January 12th to attack, well, there will be a bill to fully repeal it. Of course, that would need, because it was a people's initiative, it would need a 2/3 vote in both the House and Senate to fully repeal it or change it, which is unlikely. But if there will also be bills attacking little small pieces of Initiative 594, because even though there were a lot of promises made about how this wouldn't affect businesses and wouldn't affect, gun ranges and things like that, the truth is coming out, and people are realizing, no, it is affecting lots of people. Even, for example, security guards who train to protect, believe it or not, politicians. So the irony is rich there, but even they now are coming forward and saying, look, you said this wasn't going to affect us, and it is, so I better do something to fix this.
So you're representing the Monroe area, is that what you said?
Yes, that's
Okay.
part of it. I'm in one of the largest legislative districts on this side of the Cascade Mountains. And my territory covers most of Snohomish County, most of Skagit County, and a large chunk of northeast King County, which is the county that Seattle is in.
Right.
So,
For some reason, I thought you had moved to Woodinville. I don't know why I thought that.
No, we're a bit north of Woodinville.
Okay.
So from Monroe to Cedar-Woolley, it includes Arlington and a chunk of Marysville, Darrington, Oso, where the big landslide was earlier this year, Marysville, Pilchuck High School, where there was a school shooting just a little bit ago, is slightly inside the borders of my district as well. So it's a large area. Semi-rural, not, the farms are about 18 acres each, so they're, not huge, but it's semi-rural, and it's definitely semi-rural in mentality. Most people are very independent-minded and just want government to do what it's supposed to do and get off our backs.
That would be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw that Dan Griffey finally won election.
Yes, he did. Yeah, it was so fun to see him. We had committee days last week, and it was great to see him there with the badge on, with his name on it, and he's finally got there. I'm so glad he's down there. We've got a number of good pro-gun, pro-liberty candidates in this time. Another good one is Linda Wilson from the Vancouver, Washington area. She'll be excellent.
We're try to turn things around there.
Yeah, I think it'll help. We also gained 4 seats in the House. The Republicans did. So, I think that we will continue to be, strongly, solidly pro-gun. We showed our medal last time with House Bill 1588. That was universal background check. That version was just 2 pages, but we were able to defeat it, and then it went to the people, and by that time, it had grown into this 19-page monstrosity. So I think that the House Republicans will continue to hold the line on this Second Amendment right issue. I hope I will help them do that.
Well, another weird thing that happened up there in Washington, I guess weird is not, it's kind of a gentle euphemism, is specifically in the Seattle area, where they raised the minimum wage.
Yes.
What were you thinking?
Well, the proposal now, they're going to try to do it statewide. There will be a bill proposed. Yeah, there was actually a bill proposed in the last biennium by Representative Farrell, who said, her bill said that it would increase the minimum wage all the way to $12 over the next 3 years, and then also be after that be attached to the CPI, so it would continue to increase. Our minimum wage is already attached to the CPI, and it is the highest in the country.
So I guess their goal
currently
is to
$9.32.
raise unemployment. Is that the idea?
That's the